to the investigation
to basically take these people, for questioning at their offices. They haven't done that other than investigation.
All right. Senator Irungu Kangata, your comments on this particular case and the fact that this is not the first time that we have the former governor, being accused of graft.
Yes, I think there are serious issues that bedevil the reign of the former governor of Nairobi, Mr. Evans Kidero. There has been allegations, a lot of money lost during his tenure. And from where I sit, I think it is a positive move. They have started to unravel that mystery. From where I sit, I think I'll be very glad when I see such persons being taken to court, being told to account, because it is true, we never saw anything that was worth writing anything in Nairobi for the time he was a governor of Nairobi. And therefore, he needs to explain the taxes he collected from Nairobi, and so where did that money go to? Yes.
All right, and talking about agencies and investigations, page 7 of the Standard, we have Senator Gideon Moi also saying that investigative agencies need time to work. And this could also be possibly in the backdrop of the committee that was set up to probe the sugar menace that we have had, but of course was basically disregarded as having done a shoddy job, as not having done enough. But again, agencies that are investigating and doing some of the work, or for instance, EACC, we don't seem to have much coming from that end. Could it be that possibly they don't have the powers that they need? Michael Agwanda, your thoughts?
I watched the interviews at the Parliamentary Committee of Trade. And I can tell you, at that particular time, I was in another station, and I said, this is a joke. Because the chairman of the committee was not allowing members to ask tangible questions, and neither were they demanding answers from RAI, specifically on the questions that were raised. And that, to me, was a question mark. I said, this is a joke. I was actually vindicated when this preliminary report, in fact, they call it progressive report, taken to Parliament, and Parliament trashed it as a waste of time. And I think it was a waste of time. First of all, the character of these individuals having photos and a nice time with Rai, a gentleman that they were investigating, I believe even the Speaker of the House made a comment and said, look, this is a serious matter. You can't dine with an individual that you are actually investigating against an proportionate amount of infliction, if it was at all, in our sugar that has been, in every part of this country, and you still have nice time with him. How would you want to get result from this person? The allegations that these people are already compromised, and therefore there will be no better report we can ever get. So sometimes parliamentary committees, as much as the country is looking forward to a good job done by them, they fail the society. And I think in this case, they've definitely failed the society. I will also accept, go along with what Senator Moi is saying. I really think the DCI is perhaps having a lot of cases now that they might be quite overstretched. And perhaps this is the time you say, do you need more investigators? Can we hire even some private investigators to help the DCI? Because some of these people, some of these investigators might not be as qualified as people you'll find in the private market that might come over and bring a lot of weight in terms of private investigation. So perhaps the government need to open this investigation department to other private individuals and companies that can help them, scrutinize these cases with the speed that is served. Remember that if these cases takes too long, again, we will end nowhere. In fact, they will fizzle out and just die like many, many other cases like Goldenberg, and then nobody will ever know what really transpired. The Speaker of the House asked one question: is the sugar that is in this country fit for consumption? And these guys were not able to answer that question. And so if you're just going around, who imported sugar and who didn't import, who sold it and who didn't sell it, who stored it and who didn't store it, and you're not telling us, is the sugar that is being distributed and already in our shelf safe for human consumption? They never answered that question.
All right. Ambrose Weda, your thoughts on whether agencies need more time, according to what Gideon Moi says, for them to investigate and even bring people to book, also bearing in mind that they've been there for so long, but hardly have we seen any tangible cases that we can see they have brought?
I think if you do not know where you are going, then even if you travel for a year, you'll still not reach.
You'll be going around in circles.
If you take, for instance, the Parliamentary Investigation Committee on Sugar, I looked at what they were investigating and they left the tangent completely. They went on the basis that importing sugar itself was wrong, which was not the case. They were supposed to look at who imported sugar, who authorized them, who imported raw sugar, and who imported sugar which was to be consumed direct. Raw sugar is not unfit for human consumption. It is just that it has to be processed first before you release it for consumption. So you have to look at who imported what and whose sugar is in the market. And that required you investigate, you call in people from the Sugar Board, the Sugar Licensing Authority, AFA, other players. You don't just get one expert witness who is coming to allege Sony imported, so-and-so imported, so-and-so imported. Then it's like the expert witness, then from him you craft a report. You could see, even if you gave them 2 years, the rate at which they were investigating, what they were looking at, you could clearly see they were on the wrong target. So sometimes you need time. But most of these legal issues are very clear-cut. You go for it, you know who to call and ask. But when you want to convolute issues, then you can go round in circumlocutions and so on, and you end up the way Parliament ended. So some agencies need time depending on the issue. But if you go direct to the issue, it does not need
too much time.
But
some of them are direct.
I would also like to add that let us also, you know, we kill our institutions so much. Take, for instance, EACC. We have dismissed it so much that even if it tries to do some work, we will not see. It just comes and say, nothing will come of it, nothing will come out of that, nothing will come out of that. So some of them, let's wait also, they do their work, they put on the table. The way the committee put theirs on the table, we had a lot of hope. We gave them the chance. Then you look and say, this is nonsense. Get it out.
All right, let's look at something else, matters politics. Page 8, Senator Irungu Kangata, we have the Deputy President coming out to say that no community owes me political debt. And I think this is in the backdrop of a song that I don't know if you all managed to listen to, where it is almost alleged that because of 2013 and 2017, the Deputy President may be owed by a certain community. But your thoughts?
The people of Central Province support Deputy President, not because of a debt, but because he has good credentials. He has what it takes to be a president of this good republic. So therefore, it is not a debt. Yes, he's right. We are not repaying him any debt, but it's because of his credentials. What he has done when he was a member of parliament, when he was a cabinet minister, when he has been the deputy president of this republic, those credentials, that is what we are supporting him. So it's not an issue of, no, you supported us, it is now our time to support you. It is about delivering what you can deliver to this country.
All right. Ambrose Weda, would you like to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I think for good PR, the Deputy President might come out and say, nobody owes me a debt, and so on and so forth. But from what I know, the President owes the Deputy President a debt to support him 2022. And the President has previously expressed himself that this year, mine, 2022, And when you say that, it means the Kikuyu nation, from where the president comes, impliedly owes the deputy president support. All this going on, gerrymandering, is just because there's been a lot of heat. Just like I think Honorable Raila also claimed, rightly, that Honorable Kibaki owed him a debt to support him, to say Raila Tosha. So all these things, for the sake of the country, say nobody owes me a debt. But if you are speaking to the people of Kenya truthfully, that is what the deputy president is first and foremost standing on, saying, please, I supported you twice, and you became president. it is now time that your community also support me. But so much heat has been directed at the deputy president that he has now to beat a tactical retreat. He will come back in 2021 to say, pay my debt.
Michael Agwanda.
I totally agree
with Weda.
Council Weda. He will demand his debt, whether you like it or not. And my brother here is not being forthright in this. He knows that the central Kenya owes Deputy President a debt, and it's just a matter of time. As much as he's saying, if he wasn't owed at all, he would not have even mentioned the word debt. So that gives the word debt an opportunity to be, to be discussed and to be expanded to that point. And the reason why this is coming up is simply because where we thought the central community was going to be unanimously behind the DP in 2022, he's seeing a serious crack in between the central community, some supporting and some not. That he did not expect. And again, his highest expectation, and you've seen the pressure from the like of Honorable Murkomen saying the president need to come out and say very clearly whether he will support the DP in 2022. And you saw even the back and forth discussion which we had last week, where even the PG was supposed to be called, the Jubilee PG parliamentary group meeting was supposed to be called. And then in a half it was called off, somehow. And some people even said, but you know what, Mike, what came out very clearly from the deputy president that really impressed me this week is when he said that I will also be subjected to nomination like any other person. That to me is a very serious statement that actually what one gentleman called David Murage, is he called David Murage? Murade. Mm-hmm. What he says now need to be listened to very clearly because David Murade just the other day said, the DP will also be subjected to a nomination just like anybody else that might want to be the president. Well, that is not the agreement between the DP and Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the president. It was very clear. He said, I'm going to serve 2 terms, 10 years, and then DP Ruto is going to serve for another 10 years. That is not now the equation of whether it will happen or not, but there's total, acrimony about that statement. And the president is not coming out very clearly to say whether he's going to support him in 2022. And so are his followers. The president has serious following in Central Province. And so whether he's going to support the president or not is not a question that we want to ask today because we know what is happening in the political marketplace. And it is not very easy for that word to come out of him now and say that I will support you in 2022. Okay. But that's not to say that he may not support him in 2024.
We'll wait and see. And, let's now look at the Daily Nation, where we have the headline as Swazuri plotted to fleece and swindle. Senator, we seem to have many cases that are pending. Are you confident that there's wind of change, especially when it comes to matters graft? We've had quite a number of big names now being mentioned, but could this be another wave where we have names mentioned but nothing happens? Here's another case.
Yeah, National Lands Commission is very incompetent. I would urge parliamentary committees which oversight that commission, both in the Senate and the National Assembly, to investigate not only the chair, all commissioners, the chief executive officers, and for obvious reason, there's no way you can have a situation where they are paying billions of shillings for land which any person can be able to see this land is clearly overvalued. On this particular instance, the allegation is that the government bought its own land. Mm-hmm. There's a certain school in Ruaraka. That school purportedly falls under land that is owned by government. And then it was quite illegal for the government to proceed and do compensation in respect to land that ideally belongs to the government. You know what happens when you have what we call a huge land, and then you make an application for subdivision. You are supposed to leave a certain portion of your land. You surrender it to the city council or even to the government for public utilities. That includes schools, that includes, let's say, a police post. So essentially, you may see a situation where, yes, maybe there was no actual transfer, but under the relevant bylaws, that land you ceded it to government. So therefore, that is the it appears those are the facts surrounding this case. Yes, this land originally was private, but it was surrendered pursuant to subdivisions to to government for establishment of public utilities like a school. So therefore, you cannot then proceed to buy that land. So from where I sit, I think we need, I would urge the government to take appropriate actions against all commissioners who are involved. I think we need to investigate them, including the chief valuer in the National Lands Commission, including the legal team that was involved in this one. And I can tell you, Parliament is not going to stop here. It is going to pursue that case and ensure every person in National Lands Commission who was involved in this scandal faces justice.
This is the law. All right, Ambrose Weda, we seem to have institutions that are put in place to, as it were, straighten out things, but they never seem to do. And this is another one, the National Lands Commission. Again, land in Kenya is very emotive, so it's a commission that has a lot of power and clout, but doesn't seem to deliver. Seems to be another gravy train.
First, let me point out that I think serving now in the public service is very dangerous. You can't just go and serve and come out clean, this one, that one, because everybody serves as a team, and that team, you take responsibility even when you are not part of the fleecing team. Mm-hmm. But look at it, you know, some of these institutions, the way people get in is not by qualification or by what is by political expediency. Mm-hmm. I want my man there, I want my man there. So it depends who is lobbying for you. And that, therefore, means towards the tail end, you will find all this kind of shenaniganism, people coming up and buying public land and doing what and bringing a lot of English. If I see what the National Land Commission is doing, they spent a lot of time fighting with the ministry, fighting over what, and not delving deep into the land issues that require tackling. So when they conclude with, because they're about to conclude their tour of duty, they conclude with a major haul. It is typical Kenyan. You haul something and then you mislead Kenyans about it. So looking at it, most of our public institutions that came up through the Constitution, we put in our friends, our relatives, and people that are good to us, and then we end up with what we are now seeing. Land is a very critical area, and there's so much work to be done about land. Mm-hmm. And people there should be people who know that land, every war in the world is about land. Okay. Every war. So what Zwazuri and the team have done about buying this land and doing that are not dealing with issues. I've never had them in Nyanza doing serious thing. They're just selling that land. I wish they gave me part of the money to represent them.
All right, let's finish off with a story on page 10 of The Nation. Matters governance, and this, Michael Agwanda, would be your area of expertise, governance. And this is according to Chiloba, that governance is the heart of IEBC wars. And he says that the witch hunt, which has been on him, is basically down to governance issues at the IEBC.
IBC is, first of all, supposed to be independent. It is an independent commission that is mandated to handle matters of elections in this country and boundaries. Unfortunately, the infighting in IBC cannot enable them do the work that they are supposed to do. It is not just this IBC. Even the previous ones have been riddled with a lot of corruption. Michael, the problem with institutions in this country is that we've never seen a president where the past perpetrators of corruption have been prosecuted and gone to jail for the bad work they did and the money they stole. We've had serious issues with our electoral process in this country. And those issues have never been evaluated. They've never been investigated to conclusion and recommendation implemented very, very clearly by Parliament, as per se. What we've done in the last 2 or 3 elections is we've been changing guards. We've been changing people who are sitting in those offices. And as you said, not on qualification. IBC chairman was not even number 1 in the interview. He was not even number 2. In fact, the parliamentary, when they put these names up there, it was not featuring anywhere. I think it was number 6, if I'm not wrong. But he became the chairman. The question is, why didn't we get the most qualified that was interviewed by Parliament and his name presented to the president? Because we want political, connected individuals and people that we think will serve our interests and not the interests of the country and the interests of those institutions that they're serving. If I know that I was number 6, for example, and I was just given this job, I will be serving my masters and not
what you're supposed to be doing there.
What I'm supposed to do. And this is a problem. This is a problem. We've also seen that IBC, any money that they ask for, they seem to be given. They are buying new equipments every general election. Even these equipments that they have could easily be updated. No, but we have to buy new equipment. Election in Kenya is one of the most expensive elections in the world. Why is it so? Because these people are interested about money and deals on how much they can acquire the equipment, but not how to deliver a credible election.
All right.
This is what is killing
I want to hear your comments, Senator, before we take a short break and come back with Matters Nairobi, about your thoughts on the IEBC and the fact that we seem to be quiet on it right now, whereas this should be the time where IEBC should be putting the house in order as we wait for 2022 and any by-elections that may come by.
First and foremost, I do not know how IBC is proceeding to carry out its duty and mandate as per the Constitution and the law. Reason being, it does not have a quorum. The quorum is set by the law. Incidentally, Parliament had cured that problem. We had lowered the threshold for a quorum, but some people went to court and they were able to convince the court that what we did in Parliament was unconstitutional. So as a result, we reverted back to the original law, which provided that quorum is 5 commissioners. Now we do not have a quorum. So strictly speaking, we have a moribund IBC. From where I see it, I think we either hasten the process of appointments of the replacement for those who resigned, or alternatively, the 3 commissioners become fair to the country. They decide to resign, so probably we can commence the process again. Otherwise, for now, anything they may purport to do, any resolution they may purport to pursue and proceed, I think from where I see it is illegal because for want of quorum.
All right. Okay, and that brings us to 3 minutes to 7 o'clock, where we would like to now release our KTN home viewers. But do stay with us right here on KTN News. When we come back, let's look at Matters Nairobi. And the question we're asking you this morning, specifically and particularly for those of you who possibly are residents of Nairobi, but also those who may not be residents, are welcome to participate because I'm sure you probably have seen or have been affected. What is the #1 problem that you're facing as a resident of Nairobi? What is the #1 problem that you're facing as a resident of Nairobi? Remember when Mike Sonko was going for governorship together with Polycarp Igathe, they said within 100 days there are certain things that they are going to sort out. #1 being traffic, #2 being water supply. Now, have those been sorted out? Do you feel like any progress is being made? We're going to be looking at that right here as we come back on Morning Express. So for now, we say goodbye to our KTN home viewers, but KTN News, we come back with Matters Nairobi.
This is KTN News.